Well, if Blake Swihart's going to make the team, somebody's got to be left off. Again, this is a CLNS Red Sox roundtable. Alex Barth, Nick Quaglia, Matt McCarthy joining you. And it seems like that person who could get left off comes at the infield position. Alex Cora was talking to the media this week, and he seemed a bit, let's say, concerned about not having Dustin Pedroia for the start of the season, maybe more than one would think. We know Pedroia has chronic injury history to begin with. At the start, looks like Eduardo Nunez, second baseman, no issue. But Eduardo Nunez gave them a good half a season last year. Who knows what you can get out of him? Do they have enough? And Matt, we'll start with you. Do they have enough to make up for Pedroia's absence, which looks like it'll just be a month, maybe a month and a half? And how worried should Red Sox fans be about not having Dustin Pedroia to start the season?
If Nunez is healthy, they're fine, because I think Nunez is an impact type of player. I mean, we saw the spark that he gave the Red Sox lineup when he was in there at the top of the lineup last year. Now he's not going to be doing that this year, which is good, because, you know, you're probably going to put Betts back towards the top of the lineup, which I'm a big proponent of. But then again, it's Eduardo Nunez, and this guy had a bad knee injury last year. Apparently he's come through it fine. We'll see. So I say that, yes, they're fine with Pedroia going to be out a month, two, however long he's out, if Nunez is healthy. If Nunez is not healthy, then you're getting into the Devin Marrero situation. You're looking at Brock Holt. I mean, you're going down the list. Marco Hernandez, who's got a lengthy injury history as well. So, yeah, then that becomes more concerning. But then again, at the same time, you know, with the addition of JD Martinez and by moving Betts up towards the top of the lineup and hopefully Bogart's rounding back into form this year, I think you should be able to withstand Pedroia's absence for the first few months of the season, however long it may be. But if Nunez gets hurt, that's when you start saying, okay, when's Pedroia coming back? When's this guy going to be here?
Yeah, if this was a whole season situation, then I think this question would have a lot more to discuss, because then you're talking about Eduardo Nunez's health throughout the entire year and then what you're going to have to go through after that. But only for a month. So far, Nunez is fine. Nunez is healthy. He hit 321 last year when he showed up to Boston. That is plenty enough. You stick him at what, 7, 8, or 9 at the bottom of the lineup, he's going to be fine. The Red Sox have a lot of bats ahead of him that are going to make up for any production loss from Dustin Pedroia. So, I mean, Dustin rest. Dustin relax. You'll be fine. The Red Sox are going to be fine with Eduardo Nunez. And honestly, that signing, a lot more important now, because we knew Dustin Pedroia was going to be out. I was kind of shocked Eduardo Nunez didn't sign with the Red Sox earlier on in the offseason. I thought it made too much sense, especially with Pedroia being out and Pedroia having that surgery. So, Nunez, catalyst for the beginning of the season. And, well, Dustin Pedroia, get some rest, bud. I think Eduardo Nunez is going to be fine.
But when it comes to fielding a team, and I understand maybe lineup-wise it's not as big of a deal, but when you're looking at putting 9 guys out there defensively, right? Eduardo Nunez does have the injury history. Let's not forget Xander Bogaerts tends to get banged up from time to time as well. So if it is more than a month for Pedroia, does this justify them maybe having to keep Brock Holt, Devin Marrero on the roster, as opposed to a guy like Blake Swihart, who we talked about in the previous segment? If you missed that, you can check it out on the CLNS YouTube page. Do they need to keep a Brock Holt or Devin Marrero on the roster over Blake Swihart because they need that extra insurance in the middle infield position?
I think it's best for them to keep Marrero, because Marrero is a better defender. And again, the way the roster construction is going to work out, if you keep Swihart over Holt, that's fine, because Swihart basically jumps into that utility, infield, outfield, can play first base, can play the outfield.
Can he play the middle infield, though?
No, he can't. And I would never put him at the middle infield, and that's why you keep Marrero. Because Marrero is an excellent defender. Can't hit a lick, but he's an excellent defender. And you want Marrero on the roster too, because of Rafael Devers at third base. That's a late game situation. You can put Marrero in as a defensive substitution. And then remember, Nunez can play the outfield as well. So you don't have to carry any additional outfielders. If you carry Nunez and you carry Swihart, you can basically just roll with the 4 outfielders you have, obviously counting Martinez. And then you load up on infielders on the roster, because you're going to have Moreland, Hanley Ramirez, Marrero, Swihart. I mean, just run down the list. You can figure it out infield, outfield. So if they let the Dustin Pedroia situation impact their decision on Blake Swihart versus Brock Holt, they're doing it wrong. They're doing it completely wrong.
And it's not like they've never made a wrong decision before. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah.
No, Brock Holt's the odd man out. I just don't see how he fits into this roster at all. He's not. I don't think he'll be on the roster at all. Devin Marrero he's young, he's fresh, he's a great fielder. Watching him field is a treat every night, or when he's out there. But I just don't see a spot for Brock Holt on this roster. I don't see what he does that justifies keeping him on, especially even if you want to think about Xander Bogaerts getting hurt. I just don't think that Brock Holt has any juice that justifies keeping him over Devin Marrero or a Blake Swihart. I think his time's up. I just do. Xander Bogaerts, that decision, like you said, that decision should not have any impact on whether or not Brock Holt makes his roster. It would not make any sense.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind, too, that Swihart is a switch hitter. Brock Holt only hits lefty. So when you're constructing the bench, lefty, righty, Marrero being a right-handed hitter helps in that situation because if, in theory, Blake Swihart is, a predominantly left-handed hitter, as a switch hitter, what's the value, again, of Brock Holt? Because Swihart and Holt should be about the same defensively, right? I mean, we saw Swihart was more than passable in left field. So Marrero obviously gives you more defensively than any of those guys. I think when it comes down to roster construction, that's how they should look at it and how they will look at it.
We'll see when the final roster's out. We'll have plenty of reaction analysis on Twitter at Red Sox CLNS and, of course, on the CLNS YouTube page. This roundtable has been brought to you by SeatGeek. You check out SeatGeek.com or go to their app. Use the promo code CLNS for a discount off your purchase.